What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another deck profile, and today I've got another update for my World Chalice deck profile. Give me one moment because I think my camera's a bit dirty. Alright, I wiped it off just a little bit, but yeah. So I've got an update for my World Chalice deck profile. Sorry about no video last week. I did do a double upload the week before last, but I'm also kind of behind on getting some deck profile stuff done, or not really deck profile stuff, but I'm just running a little bit behind on YouTube stuff. But today I've got you guys a deck profile, and let's get right into it. So, starting us off is obviously the 3 World Chalice normal monsters, all at 3. We have Beckoned, Chosen, and Crowned by the World Chalice. All at 3. These are essentially your starters. As weird as that sounds, with them being, vanilla monsters, they are your starters. You want to see them going first. Now into the effect monsters, I guess you can say, but we're still continuing the monster lineup with 3 copies of World Chalice Guard Dragon. World Chalice Guard Dragon is a hand trap. Yeah, believe it or not, because whenever a linked monster you control is targeted by a card effect, you can send him from your hand or face up on your field to the graveyard to negate and destroy the card. Then he has a graveyard effect to banish himself from the graveyard to special summon a normal monster to a zone a link monster points to, which is really nice. Next, one of the big combo pieces is 3 copies of World Legacy World Chalice. You always want to see your World Legacy World Chalice. If you don't see it, you're not going to be able to really do much of anything with the deck. So, what this card does is, or the only effect I really use is, if it was normal summoned and it was sent to the grave, or the turn it was normal summoned and sent to the graveyard, you can summon 2 World Chalice monsters from the deck. It has another effect where it can negate. Alright. Yes. No, it doesn't negate anything. Okay, so its other effects are, if a monster is summoned from the extra deck, you can send it from face up from the field to the graveyard to send the monster that was summoned to the graveyard. And then it can banish itself on a different turn to add another World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. But I don't believe I'm running any more World Legacy cards in the deck other than, yep, this is the only World Legacy card I am currently running. And then we have 1 copy of Lee, the World Chalice Fairy. I've had people tell me to play more than 1 Lee, but I feel like more than 1 Lee is too bricky. Hold on, I need to... Sorry, I had to sneeze. It was making talking a little bit difficult. Yeah, I only play 1 Lee. She's really good as a target for World Legacy World Chalice, and you really only need to resolve World Chalice once. And she replaces herself either way. Again, I see where people are coming from on the whole play more than 1 Lee, but she can add herself from the graveyard back to your hand, and she can, and she searches a card. So I feel like 1 Lee is just fine. Why is it so out of focus? I don't know. Yep, and that's all for the world. That is all the World Chalice monsters. That's all I'm running in the deck for World Chalice monsters. But we are almost done with the monster lineup, because next up we have 3 copies of Rescue Rabbit. This one is an a very big no-brainer on running it in this deck. You can banish it to summon 2 level 4 or lower normal monsters from your deck. And they with this, with the same name, of course. But yeah, Rescue Rabbit, pretty good card. And then 3 cards I am choosing to run, but you could replace them with like Dark Ruler or anything else, is 3 copies of Heavenly Zephyr Miradora. I feel like this card is underrated, because whenever a monster with 2,000 or more attack is summoned from the extra deck, or just summoned in general, I believe, you can summon him from your hand and then target a monster that was summoned from the extra deck, negate its effects while this card is on the field. Like, neither player can activate that card's effects while this card is face up on the field. So, like, your opponent summons Savage Dragon, you get to summon this. Your opponent activates Savage Dragon, you get to chain this. Savage Dragon will resolve, but you will not be able to use its negates, I believe, is how that would work. Let me know in the comments if I am correct on that. But if you're going second, Miradora just opens up, or basically removes the negate on the board. It can't deal with stuff like Anaconda or Hulk, but it can deal with Savage. It cannot deal with Dragoon, but it can also deal with stuff like Fleur de Lis. No, Fleur de Lis is not an extra deck monster. Oh, there's probably a plethora of extra deck monsters this thing can help out against, and like I said, I feel like it's underrated right now. The format's just not ready for this card, or not right for this card. Either way, that is it for the monsters. Now we're going to move on to the spells, which, another no-brainer for this deck, is 3 copies of Unexpected Die. Just, if you control no monsters, summon a normal monster from the deck. Boom. There you go. That's all Unexpected Die does. It obviously gets you to your normal monster without having to normal summon one. It's pretty good. It's like playing one extra copy of each of the normal monsters, because there are 3 different normal monsters. So it's like we're playing 12 normal monsters instead of 9. Then I have 3 copies of Swing of Memories. This is basically one of our ways to use our normal monsters for link climbing. This is a link climb deck. This card just special summons a normal monster from the graveyard, and then it dies on the end phase, which isn't horrible. Could be better, but it's something. Then we have 3 copies of Silent Doom. Just like Swing of Memories, it's one of our Monster Reborns, so I kind of need it. And all it does is summon a normal monster from the graveyard in defense and prevents it from attacking. I don't know why, but it prevents it from attacking while in defense position. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure the reason why is because, turning the monster to attack with like a card effect. But we're not doing that. Then I'm playing 3 copies of Faustian Bargain. And I did buy a playset of it from a Speed Duel pack. And I guess it targets. Because the original printing, I believe, just said send a special summon monster your opponent controls to the graveyard, summon one from your hand. This one says target a special summon monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard, special summon a level 4 or lower normal monster from your hand. I don't know why they did this, but it's whatever. Faustian Bargain is still pretty good. It gets rid of a special summon monster your opponent controls. Granted, it has to target, so it can't really deal with Dragoon, but it can deal with most Dogmatica stuff. It can deal with Zoos. It can deal with Tri-Brigade. It can get rid of Zeus. It's not bad. Then I am playing 2 copies of Pot of Avarice. If you use this at the right time, it's basically just Pot of Greed, which is really nice. I am only running 2 of it though, because 3 was a bit bricky, and I'd see it in hands where I wouldn't be able to play, so I feel like 2 is a perfect spot for Pot of Avarice. And it just makes the deck feel a lot more consistent to me at 2 instead of 3. Then I play 2 copies of Painful Decision. This also helps you get to your normal monsters. It's also a very good card, or it's also, oh my god, I just can't speak today. It's a very, very solid card for not only adding a normal monster from your deck to your hand, but it also sets up the graveyard, which is really nice. And then for our power 1-ofs, we have 1 Raigeki. You could change this out for Feather Duster or whatever you want, but I'm choosing to play Raigeki because Miradora, what I was originally thinking was change this card out for Dark Ruler No More, which is objectively better. But I figured I'd showcase the Miradoras and just kind of like be like, yeah, this card is a little under the radar right now. It's not, the format's not right for it. But once the format, gets better, well, not really gets better, but once the format changes a bit, Miradora could be pretty good. And then we run 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is actually a pretty solid card, if you didn't know. Why am I stating the obvious? Because I don't know what else to say about Monster Reborn. Just summon a monster back from the graveyard. And that is it for the main deck. So, let's get started with that extra deck, shall we? So, for the World Chalice extra deck monsters, I am playing 1 copy of Ningirsu, the World Chalice Warrior. He also helps you thin out your deck a bit, and you're going to make him quite often. And all of the World Chalice monsters have the same effect, that if they leave the field, you get to summon another World Chalice from your hand. Ningirsu over here, whenever he is summoned, can draw you a card for every World Chalice card he points to, I believe. Yes. And there is a way to always draw 2 off this card. I'll get to that in a bit. However, our next monster is I'm playing 2 copies of Arum, the World Chalice Blade Master. The reason why I'm playing 2 Arum and only 1 Ningirsu is because Arum actually kind of has a decent effect. He gains attack for every World Legacy card in your graveyard, but we're not going to worry about that one. He also has really good arrows, bottom right, bottom left, and he has the effect that he can send a monster he points to the graveyard to summon another one from another World Chalice from the graveyard. With a different name. There we go. Sorry, I had a brain fart trying to think of what it was. But yeah, his arrows are just excellent, and he's overall good. I don't really use his effects that often, other than the one that summons from hand, but that's part of a combo. Next up, we have one copy of Ib. I originally was playing 2 of her, but then I found out playing 2 of her was just filling in an extra deck slot that could have been used for something else. So I cut her down to 1. You really only need the 1 because you can put her back in the extra deck. You can summon her back from the graveyard. You can do all sorts of shenanigans. She also protects cards that she points to. And yeah, she's pretty good. I know that oh god, what was it? Fur Hires ran Ib for a little bit, but we're not gonna get into that. And then for the last World Chalice extra deck monster, we are playing 3 copies of Imduke. You will go through all 3 copies, or sometimes you will go through all 3 copies of Imduke. His summoning condition is a normal monster. Yeah, a normal monster that is not a token, which kind of sucks. But he gives you an additional normal summon and has the same floating effect. Also, if he battles something that he points to, which is why his arrow points up. So if you summon him and there's an opponent's monster there, if he battles that monster, you can destroy it before damage calculation, I believe. It's pretty solid effect and pretty good. He's a pretty good card. Next, I am playing 1 copy of Link Spider. No, this is not to play around Nibiru. You can actually genuinely make the Link Spider to do actual plays in this deck. I'm sorry if I'm doing this like a little half-assed. I've done this deck I don't know how many times on this channel now. I think this is the 3rd time I'm doing this deck on this channel. And I know you guys are probably sick of seeing it. And my legs are in a lot of pain because of work. But I'm okay. Anyways, Link Spider, everybody knows Link Spider and what it does. If not, he just requires a normal monster and he has a Downward Arrow. And then he can special summon a normal monster from your hand to a zone he points to. He's been out since the Link era started. And that was pretty nice. And it was pretty nice. Next, I am playing 1 each of Nightmare Griffin, Unicorn, Cerberus, and Phoenix. The whole point, or my whole build for this deck revolves around the Nightmare monsters right here. Because you want to have co-linked Griffin with the co-linked Unicorn and the EMZ. And then either one or both of your Link 2 Nightmares. I've had some boards where I get to these 3 here or these 3. And I've also had boards where I've gotten to all 4. Granted, Nibiru, yeah. He's a mean card. And you can play around Nibiru in this deck fairly easily. I just don't have a Gravedigger's Trap Hole or a Rafflesia, and I don't really want to put Parallel Exceed in the deck just for that reason, because by the time I can drop the Exceed on my board, my opponent would be able to Nibiru me. Next, we are playing 1 copy of Avermax. Avermax is just generically solid. Requires, 2 monsters from the extra deck, summon from the extra deck, which not that hard to do. And, he's just really good. You know, he can honest himself against special summon monsters. He's protected from card effects. Whenever he leaves the field, you get to send a card to your opponent controls to the graveyard. It's just so good. Then I'm also playing 1 copy of Apollosa. Apollosa is obviously just generically good, and you can say it's kind of a workaround to Nibiru. It does have a bit of a steep summoning condition, but all the more worthwhile of summoning it, I guess. And like I said, it can stop Nibiru, which is pretty good. And then then for the last card in the entire deck is one copy of Borrelsword Dragon. Yeah, everybody knows Borrelsword is OTK machine. And that is it for the deck. I'm going to clean, or quote unquote clean this up right quick, and then I'll do my outro. Alright. If you guys enjoyed this deck profile, please be sure to like the video. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We did just recently hit over 100 subscribers, and I'm so happy for that. And one last thing before I go. If you guys have any decks you want me to build, leave them down in the comment section below. I am not afraid to build a deck in a really bad way and display it to you guys, but I would do it because my builds are meant to have fun, not to be the best thing in the world, you know? So anyways, as I've said, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.